The film begins with Tim, a game developer who is in the middle of an intense work meeting at his home. But suddenly, his internet connection drops, interrupting everything. As work comes to a halt, Tim finds himself drifting into moments he once shared with his wife. He recalls the time when she was pregnant and had to be rushed to the hospital due to severe pain from pregnancy complications. That incident had a devastating outcome. They lost their child. Just then, in the present, Tim is startled as his wife unexpectedly returns home. Her sudden appearance makes him visibly nervous. The two of them go downstairs, where they run into the building manager. He informs them that the building's renovation is almost complete, and soon, the covers draped over the structure will be removed. While they talk, a helicopter flies overhead. The manager mentions that there's been a massive fire outbreak near the port area. Tim and his wife continue walking, and she shows him her old car, which has just come back from the repair shop. They sit inside the car and start eating pizza together. She then says something surprising. "Let's go to Paris, the place we always dreamed of." She reveals that she's quit her job and wants to start a new life with him after everything that's happened. It becomes clear that the accident she's referring to is the loss of their baby. But Tim hesitates. "I want to go," he says, "just not right now. I can't leave my job." Moments later, he receives a call from work and gets pulled back into his responsibilities. That night, both lie awake in bed, unable to sleep. His wife silently cries beside him. The next morning, Tim wakes up to find his wife fully dressed with her luggage packed. She tells him, "You'll never change. I'm leaving you." But when she opens the door, she freezes. A bizarre wall of bricks is blocking the entrance. Confused and suspicious, she accuses Tim of doing this. But Tim seems just as shocked. He checks the door and confirms that something strange is going on. She runs to the window, but it's the same. Every window is covered in the same solid, seamless bricks. Panicking, Tim's wife tries to break the bricks, but they're impenetrable. Tim helps, but it's no use. She then tries calling someone, no signal. Tim checks the Wi-Fi, it's completely dead. The two begin frantically searching the apartment for any signal, but nothing works. While testing the phone near the bricks, Tim notices something strange. The phone starts malfunctioning. It's as if the bricks are emitting some sort of interference. Desperate, Tim's wife brings out a drill machine to break through. Tim assists again, but even high-powered drilling leaves no scratch. The bricks are unusually strong, far beyond normal construction. They start checking the entire apartment and are shocked to find that the whole place is sealed in. They're completely trapped. Suddenly, they hear someone screaming from the adjacent apartment. Tim and his wife knock a hole through the wall and see a couple on the other side, a man and a woman. The man explains, terrified, that they had only rented this place for one night, but now they too are sealed in. Tim and his wife confirm they're facing the exact same issue. The man begins to panic further. Tim's wife asks them if they noticed anything strange during the night. He replies that they had just gone to sleep and woke up to this nightmare. The woman on the other side is visibly scared. Tim's wife tries to comfort her. Meanwhile, Tim discovers that their water supply has also been cut off. Realizing that survival might become an issue, he and his wife begin gathering essential supplies. Tim, being a game developer, half jokes that the whole situation feels like one of his games, like a puzzle they need to solve. But his wife snaps, saying, "This is not your stupid game. This is real." Tension escalates and a heated argument breaks out between them. His wife storms off. In frustration, Tim throws his phone against the wall. But when he looks up, he notices something odd. A small phone chip is now stuck to the brick wall. Curious, he investigates further. He realizes the wall has magnetic properties. Just then, his wife returns and apologizes for the argument. Tim grabs a spoon, holds it against the wall, and shows her how it sticks, confirming that the bricks are magnetic. Now determined to investigate the strange magnetic wall, Tim and his wife start collecting all the iron objects they can find in the apartment and begin placing them against the wall. As they experiment, Tim's wife observes something unusual. The magnetic pull is strongest in a square-shaped section of the wall. But before they can investigate further, the iron objects start shaking violently and then suddenly fly through the air, hurling themselves toward Tim and his wife. Both of them duck to avoid getting hit, but in the chaos, some sharp iron pieces pierce Tim's back. His wife quickly helps him, carefully removing the metal shards and bandaging his wounds. Just then, they hear another scream. It's coming again from the adjacent apartment. Worried, they rush to the wall and shout to the couple on the other side. But this time, there's no response. Concerned, they decide to break down more of the wall. Inside, they find the woman lying on the floor beside the bed, unconscious or injured. Tim's wife rushes to help her, while Tim searches the room for her partner. Suddenly, the man, Marvin, attacks Tim from behind, knocking him to the ground. A struggle ensues. Tim's wife quickly jumps in and sprays Marvin in the face with pepper spray. While he's disoriented, Tim begins punching him in self-defense. But before the situation escalates, the woman regains consciousness and runs to stop them. She insists that Marvin didn't attack her. She had fallen herself while trying to break the bricks. She suspects both of them may have been drunk the night before and doesn't remember things clearly. For everyone's safety, Tim ties up Marvin's hands until he sobers up. Later, the woman explains that her name is Louise and Marvin is her husband. As they talk, Tim finds a storeroom inside the apartment. From it, he pulls out a large hammer and tries to use it to break the magnetic wall. But Marvin, now slightly more aware, tells him it's useless. The hammer will break, not the brick. Tim demands, "Then why did you attack me?" Marvin seems confused. Louise explains that Marvin often doesn't remember his actions when he's under the influence of drugs, implying he likely didn't mean to hurt anyone. That's when Tim's wife, who's revealed to be an architect, offers a new idea. She explains that since the building was constructed during wartime, it likely has a basement shelter built as protection against bombings. Everyone agrees with her plan, and together they begin breaking open the floor to reach the basement. While they work, Marvin suggests that someone is deliberately doing this to them. He suspects the building manager may be involved in some sort of scheme or experiment. Eventually, they manage to dig a large hole, and Tim climbs down into the basement. There, he calls out to his neighbor, an old man, living alone in a separate unit. But instead of helping, the old man appears with a gun, wanting Tim to go back. He refuses to share his food, supplies, or space with anyone else. Suddenly, his granddaughter appears and takes control of the situation. She tells her grandfather, "If we all work together, we can get out of here." Her words manage to break through his stubbornness, and he finally agrees to help. Everyone begins climbing down into the basement. Tim unties Marvin, now fully recovered, and asks for his help digging further. While clearing more debris, Tim spots something unusual, a small device embedded in the wall. When he opens it, he finds a camera hidden inside. Suspicious, he turns to the old man and asks, "Did you put this here?" The old man shakes his head. The building manager installed it. Tim searches another area and finds a second hidden camera, confirming his suspicion. Marvin reacts with shock and says, "Someone is playing a squid game with us. We're being watched and the building manager is behind it. He's the mastermind." Tim's wife suggests they confront him. She reminds everyone that the manager lives in the next apartment. Without wasting time, they break through the wall and enter his unit. But what they find leaves everyone frozen in horror. The building manager is dead. His hands have been brutally cut off and blood is splattered all over the room. Alone, Tim checks the building manager's phone. Inside it, he finds numerous photographs of the strange brick wall, proof that the manager had been documenting something. Tim's wife returns and shows him a news article on her phone. It's about the same massive fire at the port that the building manager had mentioned earlier. Suddenly, the ground beneath them begins to crack and collapse with a thunderous noise. Tim's wife quickly climbs down and helps Tim, Marvin, and Louise manage to stabilize themselves as well. Above, the old man prepares to stay behind, but his granddaughter insists on going with the others. He gives her a gun and tells her to go alone, but she refuses to leave him. She grabs his hand and takes him with her. Everyone is now together in the mysterious underground space, heading deeper into the unknown as the mystery grows darker. As the group made their way further down into the underground, a man suddenly appeared with his hands raised in surrender. He introduced himself as Yuri and explained that he had come to stay with his friend who used to live in this flat. His friend, he claimed, had invited him for a few days. Curious, Yuri asked the group why they were breaking the ground. When they told him their plan to escape, he burst out laughing. He insisted that the mysterious brick wall wasn't a threat. In fact, it was a high-tech defense system designed to protect them from outside attacks. Tim's wife then asked, "Where's your friend now?" Yuri calmly led them to the man's dead body, claiming that he had collapsed suddenly from a heart attack. He added that his friend had also been researching the strange brick wall. The group was disturbed. Now, more uncertain than ever, they continued breaking through the floor and descended further into the basement. There, they discovered a sealed tunnel door, but behind it, to their shock, was the same type of brick wall. Frustrated, Marvin furiously struck it with a hammer. Tim tried to calm him down, but Marvin's rage only escalated. But suddenly, he grabbed the gun and fired at the wall. To their horror, the bullet stopped midair, began to vibrate, and hovered as if caught in magnetic force. Tim shouted, "Everyone down!" They dug just in time, but the old man couldn't move quickly enough. A bullet hit him. His granddaughter rushed to him, screaming for help, but it was too late. The old man died in her arms. Later, back in Yuri's friend's room, the atmosphere was heavy with grief. Marvin's wife asked an important question. Is there something that connects all of us? Something in our lives that brought us here? She shared that she had narrowly escaped death as a child. The old man's granddaughter revealed that her mother had died from cancer. Yuri admitted that during his time in the police, he had once killed a man. Then, she coldly remarked, "Everyone knows what Marvin did." Marvin apologized again for the old man's death, but the granddaughter wasn't ready to forgive. They turned to Tim and his wife. Tim's wife began to speak, but Tim stopped her. Even so, she revealed their painful past, that they had lost their child during her pregnancy. Tim left the room in silence. His wife followed, and the two began to argue. She expressed the loneliness and pain she felt after their loss. "You buried yourself in work," she said, "and I had to bear everything alone." Tim calmed himself and returned to the group. He suggested they investigate the building manager's room for answers. The old man's granddaughter added that they should also examine the work left behind by Yuri's friend. Tim, Marvin, and Marvin's wife went to the building manager's apartment, while Tim's wife and the granddaughter went to Yuri's friend's room. Yuri, however, seemed disinterested and stayed back. While exploring, Tim noticed that the manager's flat was smaller than expected. Upon inspecting a wall, he discovered a hidden room. At the same time, Marvin found a remote, but it was locked with a password. They sprinkled powder on it and identified 4 fingerprinted digits, forming the possible code. Meanwhile, Marvin's wife located Yuri's friend's business card, which revealed that he worked in nanotechnology and defense systems. He was affiliated with a company focused on high-tech defense solutions. When they questioned Yuri, he claimed he never knew the specifics, just that his friend was a programmer. They continued searching and found the friend's broken laptop and phone. Yuri casually remarked that his friend had a habit of smashing things when frustrated. Then they found a paper with a strange code. Yuri laughed again, warning them that if they opened the door, harmful radiation might come in and kill them all. Just then, Marvin's wife rushed in and said she had discovered something important. Tim's wife and Yuri went up to check it, while the old man's granddaughter stayed behind to study more documents. Tim tried the 4-digit combinations, and finally, the secret door opened. Inside was a room filled with monitors, showing footage from hidden cameras placed in all their apartments. They watched recordings of Tim and his wife's room and saw the exact moment the brick wall began expanding, like an automated defense system activating. It was clearly advanced nanotechnology. Back in Yuri's friend's room, the granddaughter examined his body and, upon removing his scarf, saw clear strangulation marks contradicting Yuri's heart attack story. Meanwhile, the group replayed camera footage and saw Yuri's friend approach the wall with a phone. The flash blinked multiple times, and the wall opened, proving it was possible to unlock. Marvin rushed to Yuri's room and caught him burning his friend's research. Marvin then stumbled upon the granddaughter's dead body beside the bed. Enraged, Marvin shouted at Yuri, who responded with twisted justification. "I did this to protect everyone." Tim arrived with a gun and saw Yuri strangling Marvin. Yuri then turned and attacked Tim, knocking him down and attempting to choke him to death. Marvin regained strength and kicked Yuri off, saving Tim's life. The others arrived, and though some wanted to kill Yuri, Tim held back. Maybe he knows the way out. They tied Yuri to a chair. Everyone mourned the granddaughter's death. Marvin's wife speculated that Yuri had killed his friend because he discovered how to escape. They salvaged a partially burned paper, realizing it contained a sequence, a clue to the layout of the wall's unlocking mechanism. She confronted Yuri, demanding to know how the wall had opened. Yuri replied nervously, "It's dangerous out there. This wall is for protection." Tim fired a shot near Yuri to scare him and asked whether his friend's company built this wall. Yuri finally admitted the wall was created through a military-grade defense system designed to withstand any threat. When asked why his friend tried to escape, Yuri said he believed something had malfunctioned in the system after the port fire. Marvin agreed. He was right. We have to try. Marvin's wife revealed that Yuri's friend was building an app, a program that could open the wall. Tim realized the broken phone and flash were the key. He connected the device to the computer and discovered that the flash emitted electromagnetic waves, acting as a signal. They returned to the magnetic wall. Using the app, they randomly triggered flashes in different orders. The wall began to shift and react. Something was changing. Suddenly, Marvin's wife put her hand into the wall. "It's warm," she said. Then, panicked, she screamed, "Something's pulling me." They tried to pull her back, but the wall closed abruptly, severing her body in half. Everyone froze in horror. Marvin collapsed beside her remains, shattered. Then, as if something inside him snapped, he turned his gun on Yuri and shot him dead. Moments later, unable to bear the grief, Marvin took his own life. Now only Tim and his wife remained. They sat together, overwhelmed by loss. She broke the silence, saying, "When we lost our baby, I needed you, but you weren't there." Tim looked at her with regret. "I'm grateful you didn't leave me." She softly replied, "Because I love you." The two decided that they would find a way out no matter what. Tim ran the app again. They noticed something new. The flashes triggered in different patterns. They watched the recorded video carefully to trace which route Yuri's friend had used. Following the same path, Tim and his wife make their way down. and try to open a hidden wall using the app on their phone. But before they can make any progress, Yuri, who is still alive, suddenly appears and attacks Tim out of nowhere. Chaos erupts. Tim's wife, trying to escape the situation, stumbles and falls into the basement. Yuri begins chasing her. Tim quickly pushes Yuri, making him fall into the basement too, and then jumps in after them. Inside the basement, Tim and his wife begin running to save themselves, with Yuri close behind. They manage to get inside another area and slam the door shut, trapping Yuri outside. Acting quickly, Tim hands the phone to his wife and tells her to open the secure door using the code. She enters the code and unlocks it, but just at that moment, Yuri manages to force his way inside. A brutal fight breaks out. Yuri lunges at Tim, and the two begin to strangle each other. Yuri overpowers Tim and slams him to the ground. Realizing the danger, Tim tells his wife to escape alone. But before Yuri can strike again, she grabs a hammer and attacks him from behind, killing him on the spot. With Yuri finally dead, Tim and his wife continue forward through a tunnel. As they emerge on the other side, they find themselves surrounded by newly constructed brick walls, enclosing the entire area. The sight leaves her shocked and overwhelmed, but just then, they spot their car nearby. Without wasting a second, they get inside and drive away, heading straight for Paris. As they drive, the radio plays a shocking news update. The company's advanced nanotech system had been triggered due to the fire. As a result, the entire city had fallen under its control. If humanity is to survive, that powerful system must now be shut down. And with that chilling revelation, the film ends.